when they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Good evening, everyone. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening live to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. We are streaming also on 105.3 FM out of Mississippi and 107.7 out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. And this is the thing at the foot of the bed. I am one of your hosts, Lorilei, and my co-host, I always pass it over to David when I finish up with all the housekeeping. So I am a Canadian, I should say Lorilei Potvin, I guess, right? I tell you my last name too. I am a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer in major Halloween mode. If you're watching, got my Halloween Hello Kitty on, just came today. Also, what am I? Psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, also registered nurse. I'm an animal communicator. Julie Jean Bassett told me I've graduated. I can't call myself budding anymore, so I guess I'm an animal communicator too. Still working on it. I'm well versed in death experiences. My brain's not working tonight. Sorry, guys. Near-death experiences, having studied them for over 40 years professionally and personally, as well as I've had one as a toddler. And I'm extremely well versed in the paranormal. We say we didn't go looking for it. It found us. And we shared our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor, Season 4, Episode 9. I didn't pick the title, but it's called Demonic Hauntings. And I am also the host of my own show on Mondays here on UPRN called The Angel Rock from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What else do I want to tell you guys? I make myself a checklist now because I always forget something. If you guys like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family. There really is something for everybody here. We are up to, I think, almost 40 hosts on the network. And when we stream multiple shows 7 days a week, live, multiple. And when we're not streaming live, the archive server kicks in and randomly picks shows over the past 25 plus years. Yes, this network's been around that long. And we stream to every country in the world, believe it or not. So something gets randomly picked. So we actually are streaming live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And like I said, this network's been around 25 plus years. 80% of our audience is listening only. And you're going to see us after we get the housekeeping out of the way, as I call it, the intro. We always say hi to our audience and we involve them. This show and my show, The Angel Rock, are very audience participative. Without all of you, David and I would just be having a great conversation. And we do. We send each other the best jokes too throughout the week. Honestly, I almost pee myself laughing with some of the stuff David sends me. But you guys add so much. Even on the Angel Rock, I tell all my guests, because that show I do have guests on, that you're going to involve the audience. They are incredible. You guys are so intelligent. You are kind to one another. You ask the best questions, and we love you. So thank you. So like I said, please share and subscribe and tell all your friends and family. If you like what you see, we've got great programming here. But if you do want to comment, so if you're listening and you're thinking, geez, I want to join in this conversation, how do I do that? You can head over to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio on Facebook and YouTube. You can head over to David's YouTube channel, which is The Spirit Experience. He's also streaming on his Facebook page, and I always screw it up. It's David Hanzel. Is it Psychic Medium, Spiritual Medium, David?
I think this one is just, it's Spiritual Medium David Hanzel.
I always forget because I know what you call yourself, but I always screw it up with so it's on his Facebook profile too. I am streaming it to my Facebook profile as well under Lorilei Potvin. We're also streaming to Instagram. I'll get to that in just a sec. We're also streaming to Canada's Most Haunted. So there's many places you can join in. If you see a video, you can join in the conversation. On Instagram, we're streaming to the Angel Rock, but they don't integrate the comments over there with the rest of the platforms that we stream to. So I will try and pop back and forth and say hello to you. So hang in there, or come and join us on one of the YouTube or Facebook channels I've just mentioned. Hopefully Instagram doesn't kick out after an hour. I think it's been streaming for 2 hours when I've seen it. So hopefully it keeps streaming, because sometimes it cuts off after an hour. Oh yeah, and if you want to watch us on TV, you can. The network has a TV channel. It's on Roku. You're going to go to the channel store and you're going to type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop-down list. You're looking for about the third or fourth one down, and you're looking for UFO, Paranormal, and United Public Radio. And that's us. I think I remembered everything. Dave, on to you.
I think you got it. Hi, everybody. My name is David Hanzel. I am a spiritual medium, channel, spiritual counselor, so on and so forth. A lot of the stuff that Lorilei does as well. Also, we do have a Facebook group called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed with Lorilei Potvin and David Hanzel. If you want to go ahead and join that group, it is a private group. You can see the videos that we show here during our podcast sometimes. You can also post any show ideas, post any videos that you have of the strange, unusual, paranormal, just plain fun to see for other people to see as well. And when we get up to about 200 followers, Lorilei and I will start going live in the group to do some psychic readings, talk about stuff that we kind of can't maybe talk about here, but we can talk about there. But it's just a lot of fun. Everybody's friendly in there. Feel free to join. We'd really love to have you. And like Lorilei said, thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you for all the people all over the world. And thank you for all the people who are listening to us live as well. And Lorilei is about to say hi to everybody right now.
The other thing I want to tell you all, I just heard a weird noise. We got weird stuff going on around us. We're going to talk about that tonight. Paranormal activity, maybe it's regular activity. We don't know, but we're going to talk about it. But I want to let y'all know, I am going to be guesting on Carrie Lynn Shellhorn's show tomorrow on Spirit Switchboard, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come join us. Something weird and strange and unusual always seems to happen when we do a show together. Plus, it's lots of fun. We have a ball together. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but believe me, there's never a shortage to talk about anything in the weird, the strange, and unusual. So come join us. So let's say hi to everybody. I'm going to go up here, and who we got? Got Leslie 1266. She says hello. And then Howie Odell, I am here. Tips top hat. LOL. I will be calm, cool, and quiet tonight. No, we don't want you to be quiet, Howie. You got to join in. You got so much to add. Also, you guys, don't forget to check out Howie's his network. My mouth is not working tonight for some reason. Anyways, he's got the Riff Nation Network. He is a huge supporter of UPRN and all of our hosts on the network. He's got some great programming. He also has his own show. We have been on together, David and I, twice already, which is the Orion Effect with the amazing co-host he has, Rhonda Harris. Just love her. So then Howie says, jumps up on stump, sits like a crow, folds arms as I crouch down. Let the fun begin. And David says, don't you dare, Howie, LMAO, he commented. And then Howie's chanting, UPRN, UPRN, UPRN. Thank you, Howie. We appreciate that. We got Connie Martin. She says, hi, Lorilei and David. Kathy Hanley Little, hi all. Marissa Burrill says, hi, everyone. And Howie Odell says, I heard that. It sounded like feedback. Well, I don't know. If it's an EVP, we'll find out. Somebody usually goes back and checks it all out. Jackie Lane's here. She says, hello. Danielle Long says hello. And Diane Brighton's here. Hi, Lorilei. Hi, David. Hi, Jackie. And then Howie Odell says, Tanya is my sister. You know what? I don't see a Tanya on here. So if I haven't said hello to you, I apologize, but welcome, Howie's sister, and thank you for pointing her out. But for some reason, it didn't show up here. I have no idea why.
Tanya flew the coop on us.
Well, she's here, but I don't know why. Howie, maybe did you share the show and she's commenting off your page? I'm not sure, but thank you. If there's anybody that has shared it and we've missed them, please be sure to let us know, because strange things happen. I'm even going to check Instagram. We've got IXCHELL17. They say hello, and we say hello to you too. Welcome on the Angel Rock on Instagram. So thank you for joining us. I didn't say your name because I don't want to screw it up. Is it Ixchel? I think it's Ixchel. So we have got weird stuff going on. It's spooky season. I love the little naughty character in Hello Kitty. I don't know. She's on here. Oh no, actually she isn't. That's how good my eyes are when I'm shopping. But it's from Hello Kitty. I love Kuromi. I will show you who Kuromi is. I'm nothing but a big kid. She's the naughty one with the little ears, and she's got a skull on her head because I love skulls. And Howie says, I did. Well, thank you for sharing. I don't have any gnomes. I don't have any gnomes up here. It's only a room I don't have gnomes in right now.
Yeah, so I've moved all my gnomes upstairs because so much weird stuff. I took them all off the banister. Remember, I took you a picture a long time ago. I had them all across the banister, and the cats, I'm not a very skittish person, but every once in a while, a gnome will fall off there. And most like it's in I have to say 10 times out of 10, I debunked it as one of the cats. But there's been times where the gnome fell and I'm like, it was in the dark. So the cat was either hiding or ran away. And I like jumped and I was like, oh, stop it. So I moved them all. Now they all look like they're a big choir on one of my nightstands.
We know what's been happening. So I normally have a ton of gnomes. Dave and I are gnomaholics. We have many things in common, but that's one of them. But you know what's been happening to me over the last week? I have been outside. There's not a soul around. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm talking about it. It's not cold. And all of a sudden, hi, Michelle Wilfong, only the most overpowering male cologne. And I can smell it. It comes on like this. And it seems to hang around for a while. I've even said, who are you? Why are you here? I'm not getting anything back. I even asked a couple of my friends that are mediums, are you guys picking anything up about this? It feels male, obviously, to me, though. I mean, anybody could wear a more manly scented cologne. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it's curious and looking for some help, but it hasn't told me anything else. And it's shown up twice and it lasts for about 2-3 minutes. And believe me, I have searched around. Like, is there anybody out here I'm not seeing? Is there something? Mm-hmm. There's nobody out there. And as fast as it comes, it disappears.
Does the smell feel really objective? It's outside. It's outside you, not inside.
It's outside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say this. I don't mean this, but I'm just going to say this. For me, a lot of times when I think about something like when other people do it and they feel it outside themselves, it doesn't feel like a spirit that's all the way over. It does feel like it's more somebody who's
absolutely. It's somebody that's earthbound. It's somebody that's earthbound and feels like they need help.
Yeah, or just kind of hanging out. Maybe they're new to switching stuff. You never know. But yeah,
it actually reminds me of a cologne I've smelt before. Like I would have even said maybe something my father might have worn in earlier days. And not that my dad splashed on bottles of cologne, but in the morning before he went to work and after he shaved, when you first smell it. But my father has not crossed over. So as far as I know, he hasn't. And like I say, this has been twice. It happened last night. And it happened about 4 days ago. And the only other time I've gotten a smell like that was I was again outside, and I'm not being disrespectful to anybody, but you're all going to know what I mean when I say the old lady cologne. When you smell, it's very old smelling, overpowering. It's kind of unpleasant, actually. It's not like an evil smell. It's just so overpowering. I had that about 6 months ago. Again, same thing. Came out of nowhere. And as soon as it was there, it was gone. And again, I'm not saying it's evil. Like, it doesn't feel evil or bad. It's just,
it feels like there must be something.
Smells that much, so I really notice it when it's there.
No, I get it, because I got stuff like that too. And you just, like my door handle that went last time. I went all over the house, and there's like nothing answers back. And
that's
so
just it.
There's just no one answering back. If you guys weren't here last week, I was in the bathroom and something literally jiggled my bathroom door handle.
Your lights have been going on in your room.
These lights, I turn them off. They're not on a timer. I'll go away for a little bit and they'll go on. They keep going on, and I have to keep coming in here to shut them off. I can't even catch them going on. That's the weird thing. I had them off because I thought maybe my timer, or there's a timer screwed up. But this morning I woke up and they weren't on. And I sat here, I did meditations, I did my sitting in the power, and then I had clients today, and I did all that. So I was in this room almost all day. I left for just a couple of minutes, came back, and they were on again. And I'm like, really? It's odd. And there's nothing there's literally no terrible feeling behind it.
It still freaks you out, though. Come on, even with what you do.
The weird thing is, there's just no feeling behind it. So it's either me or it's something else, but it's fun. And then I was telling Lorilei before we came on, so I'll tell you what happened. So you guys, this is really weird. This is I don't know if you want to call it paranormal, but you can.
And then I'm going to tell you what I suggested. We'll see what people think, but go ahead.
So if anybody doesn't know what I do, besides being a medium, all that, I am very heavily into the Kabbalion and Hermetics and like the laws of attraction, all those laws. And I study them. And right now I'm studying like the law of assumption and, not the law of attraction that's already been done, and some other laws that have to do with seeing things while you're here, because this is kind of like a create your own adventure life in a way. And anyway, I was in my car and I was listening to my affirmations that I do. And I listen to them, and I do my imagining while I am driving. And I was sitting up straight. I was imagining I had turned off the expressway to go into to get to the trail where I walk all the time. As soon as I turned right, I smelled fire. And I mean, like smoke. And I thought for a minute, and I took my earphones out and I'm driving, and I'm like, there's no smoke in my car. And it didn't scare me yet, but I went around this one corner, and then all of a sudden I got like overexcited. Like my heart pumped, just like jump. And I smelled that smoke again. I had to pull off, and I jumped out of the car. I thought maybe my car's on fire. And I lifted the hood, and it's nothing.
Didn't you have I don't know if you wanted to share, you had an odd feeling, if we'll say that, come over you too, that didn't sound like...
the feeling was like, it was overexcitement. It was like, it wasn't like doom, but it wasn't pleasant. You know what I'm saying? It was like, that was weird. Like almost like a miniature anxiety attack. Really, really bad from the smell.
That's kind of what I picked up, but it doesn't feel like it's of you. And what I had suggested, we see you guys asking questions, so let's just say hi quickly before I answer. We got Kimmy Bretts Weaver here. Let me see, there was somebody else that just popped in. Michelle Plummer's here. There was somebody else. Oh, Julie Jean Bassett and Mish from Australia. She's over in the future. It's Friday over there already, so thank you for joining us. Julie Jean Bassett, be sure to check her out on juliejeanbassett.com. Amazing animal communicator, and she really helped me, and I thank her from the bottom of my heart with my Emmy, because Emmy, my dog, is still not feeling well. Knock on wood, today it's been better, but it was still vomiting after I thought she was fine all day from the night before. Couldn't keep anything down. It was bad, so we're just trying to figure it out, and Julie really helped me. So check her out.
This is literally not a psychic guess. This is just a literal guess. Does she have a bacteria in her stomach? Like something?
No. Julie picked it up, and she thought it might be my resin. But interestingly enough, I have not poured any resin for 3 weeks since this has been going on. I think it's something in my backyard. I don't know if I caught her something eating the night before she got sick again.
That's what I mean. She's got something in her. There's some bad bacteria going on in her stomach, maybe.
I don't know. Julie scanned her and didn't feel like it was a bacteria. And I think it's more like an allergic type thing going on. So what I did was, being a nurse, I knew what to give her, double check the dose, didn't even give her a full dose. You guys might know it as Dramamine or Gravel. I'm not giving medical advice, just what I chose to do. And after an hour, she went and ate. She kept water down, and I know well enough just to give her a little bit of water, wait 20 minutes, give her another. And I did. She kept it all down. Today, I gave her a treat for breakfast. It might not sound like a treat, but she loves it, and it's good for her coat. I gave her some sardines, and she loves them. They're just a treat. She wolfed them down, and she's not acting sick. It's just she wasn't keeping anything down. So it's not grass, Diane. I wish it was grass. It's not grass. People in my neighborhood, and then we'll get back to the paranormal, they're horrible. There's been a rash of people soaking bread in antifreeze and putting it out for dogs to find or throwing in people's yards. And somebody has been trying to get into my backyard. The gate is wired shut, and we have found it twice in the last 3 weeks.
That's terrible.
Open. So not sure what, but so if anybody wants to send some healing energy, I don't usually ask for it. I'd be very happy to accept for on her behalf. And Julie helped me. That's the whole reason why I mention it. So check her out. She's also an incredible shamanic practitioner. So let's get back. We got lots of questions. So anyways, what I had suggested to David with what he had shared, just because this has all been sort of happening in the last week and a half or so.
Actually, about 3 weeks now.
Yeah. Okay, 3 weeks. Well, I said to you, and it's an option, I said, be happy to do it with you. The more energy, the better. We could do it on video and just give his house a good cleanse. He said, yeah, but this happened in my car. And I said, well, I don't think it's an attachment, but say you do have someone around that's trying to get your attention. They very easily could follow you in your car as well. Right? So it could be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They've been popping in. They've been popping in fast lately because even today I did.
Yeah, but look what we do. So there's other spirit around that could be earthbound that knows that you can communicate.
It could be with the whole shift and the big full moon and all that. But even like the last 2 days of readings, so I do I sit in the power every morning. If mediums know what that is, it's a type of meditation that we do. But I sit in the power. Normally when I sit in the power, it's just me. There's no talking to guides. There's no nothing like that. It's just sitting in the power, flat out. Mm-hmm. 2 times in a row, they have come in, and actually it's more than that, 3 times. They have come in during that and started saying who they were. And and at that point, I'm just thinking, I'm just making it up in my head because I'm just trying to do, my meditation. And then today I got on, I had I was doing that and I kept seeing this white and black, it looked like a sheepdog or something like that. I kept seeing that in meditation. I'm like, well, that's pretty, but I didn't think about it anything. I go to do my reading and the lady's like, I'm like, so what's up? And she's like, oh, I'm trying to get a hold of my dog. I said, it wouldn't happen to be a white and black Sheltie, would it? She goes, yes. And I said, okay. I'm like, wow, they're coming in fast lately. So I don't know if you guys have been experiencing it. I mean, mediums and healers are going to experience weird stuff in different ways, but I kind of think because of the full moon, the solar stuff that just happened on the weekend, maybe that's what a lot of this is.
We've got a lot of good questions, but I'm just going to address this. So Diane Brighton said she had that happen. Sounds like somebody soaking antifreeze. She lives in Ontario, but in Southern Ontario, I believe. So I don't know what it is here, but she said she lost her dog. Her dog had nearly died years ago. So I'm glad that your dog was okay. And I really appreciate all the people with the wonderful comments you're leaving here. We really appreciate that. But speaking of that, so Leslie 1266, and before I even read that, I got to get over to Instagram. So it's Eshell 17 because they said hello, and that's how the IXCHELL is pronounced, Eshell. So thank you. And just so you know, Eshell, in case you joined a little bit late, they don't integrate your comments over on Instagram over where everybody else's are with what we're broadcasting on StreamYard. So I'm trying to pop back and forth. So please don't think we're forgetting you. We're not. We're trying to incorporate you into the conversation. And if Instagram cuts off after the first hour, because sometimes it will, come join us, please, over on you can go to David's YouTube channel, The Spirit Experience, mine, The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. I forgot to mention that. Or you can go to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio on Facebook or YouTube, just so you can stay part of the conversation. We love lots of people joining us. So Leslie's asking, does the eclipse affect energy or spirits? You want me to answer or you want to go first, Dave?
I'll answer real quick. I believe so. that's mine. I believe so.
Okay, so absolutely, just like a full moon does. And I can tell you this, I was just talking to one of my neighbors, and they just got some terrible news about the sister, their family that lived together, husband and wife and his sister. So definitely they could. I don't usually ask for these things, but it's not for myself, it's for her too. But we were talking about this, and I was saying I worked in a nursing home for 4 years when I was going through university as a nurse. And I can tell you, anytime I was working as a nurse, I can tell you we knew when it was a full moon. We never, ever, ever had to ask if it was a full moon or an eclipse. And you got to think, right? Especially with the full moon, right? If it can affect the tides, and we're mostly water, it can affect us, but so can the eclipse. Okay, it's an energy change. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
And here's some fun stuff, and you throw in on this too, Lorilei. As far as like, okay, like Howie has just said, Betelgeuse went supernova. We have solar storms right now, so massive energies affecting spirit. I was thinking about that very thing, about whether it's actually affecting spirit or it's affecting us, and we're just being more observant to normal things that are going around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't believe in this kind of stuff, and even then you see personality changes and all kinds of things.
I just mean during that, if we're affected, is it us that sees more of the spirit world or weird things? Because
I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
It doesn't feel like
I think we do. I think we do. Yeah. Whether it makes the veil thinner, if you will, the proverbial veil, or what it is. But I definitely think that it does affect us. Oh, Michelle, you're so sweet. She goes, you do a wonderful job navigating it all, Lorilei. That's why sometimes my words don't work, because I'm thinking of 20 things at once, and then spirit speaking to me. And like I say, if this isn't a tough show, though, I love doing this show. I love the Angel Rock, and I love this show. This show always goes by so fast, really fast. As I get goosebumps again. It's not cold in here, but it's because, you know what? We talk about things that I think you got two people that know each other well, and you guys are part of the conversation. I don't know. I just feel like we have a big party room kind of, if you will.
You guys all the time, anybody in our lives, feel free to throw in or ask questions. And if
well, we've got another one up here I'm going to go back to. So cool. Brett Sweaver says, I never thought about it like that. Good point. I wonder. Yes, good point, right? And we want your thoughts on this. Like David and I have always said, and if you're newer here, and some people may be new, David and I don't know everything. So we started this show because we get asked a lot of these questions in the line of work we do. And we know that people have them. So we've always told you guys, and if you're new, you may not have heard it, we're not experts. We're going to share with you what we know from spirit as well as our own experiences. And we're open to hearing what everybody has to say.
Yeah, and even though, like we said, like I had my near death was in 2015. Lorilei had one. A lot of people ask me, because you talk to your guides that are near death, can't you just know everything now? Nope. Nobody can hear. We just don't hear. Half of being here is doing the research and searching. So
it would kind of be like having all your Christmas presents before Christmas morning, all unwrapped. You're here for a reason. Everybody is.
Yeah, or somebody gave them to you the week before Christmas and said, hey, these are what you're going to get on Christmas. Oh, great.
Yeah. So why bother, right? So Mish asked a good question, though. She said, could friends who are all into this, meaning the paranormal, I'm guessing, when they pass away, could they have fun with us? I know what my answer is.
I am sure they could. I mean, even the ones who don't seem like they would have any fun here at all when after they left became fun.
Well, my answer is, and I know people that have done this, having worked in palliative care and believing in the afterlife and maybe believing in the paranormal, have said, when I pass, I will come and visit you. And they've actually set up like it's going to be a certain type of animal or bug or whatever. But the other thing I always say to people, because I get a lot of people, and I know David gets this lots too, and anybody else in our line of work, they might be experiencing something strange or unusual in their home or wherever. They're starting to suspect it's paranormal, and it's really scaring them. And so I always ask the person, was like, they'll say, do you think it's my dad or my cousin or whomever? And first thing I ask them is, would your cousin have done something like this to you in life? And they say no. I said, there's probably a good chance it's not your cousin then. I always ask them how they feel too. There's much more involved with that. Besides scared, what else were you feeling? And what made you think it might be so-and-so? Because our loved ones are not going to scare us in the afterlife if that's not something, or prank us or do something to make us terrified, if they were never that type of person living, I believe. So, but if you had a friend that was kind of a prankster and they passed and you were friends and you're into the paranormal and they are, and you kind of, most people know whether you think you know or not. That's why people say, I know it, my gut, I'm going to follow my gut. And you kind of know. Yeah, I believe they could. And like I said, I've seen people set this up and actually do it in the afterlife. So
yeah, Lorilei, and I agree with you when you tell people, if they say, this and that, it's like, well, you really do have to ask yourself. The biggest giveaway is, how did you feel when it happened? That's it.
Yeah.
That's the giveaway. I have to, you know what? When I do, when I go ghost hunting, when I used to go ghost hunting, and even when I'm around places that have ghosts now, there's something that I do. And I don't get scared super easy, but I don't like jump scares and I don't like surprises. Never have. And I've gone and this is a practice. And when I go again, I'm going to do the same practice. When something did seem to frighten me, like a jump scare, the first thing I do, but I've trained myself pretty well over the last couple of years, is I sit back for a minute and you collect yourself and you just become really aware, and you have to ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Does it feel bad? Because a lot of people, when they get a jump scare right away, it's a ghost, it's a demon. No, not always. You got to just be in what happened. Now, if you sit back and all of a sudden you feel a sense of doom and foreboding, yeah, most likely it's probably not a very good energy,
Okay, I got a question for you. I just had someone message me, and they're planning an event. They said it's a strange question, and they asked me, popcorn mixed with either M&Ms or Smarties. If you don't know what Smarties are, because you may not get them, they're almost identical to M&Ms, but I believe they almost use more of like a Cadbury type chocolate inside of them. So I want to hear your comments in the chat, if you don't mind, and I'll pass along what you have to say. I'm going to tell them.
Smarties or M&Ms?
Yeah.
I would have
with popcorn.
I would have a little snacky menage a trois, all three of them.
Oh, I'm going to say that I'll say my co-host. I'm typing this out. Go ahead and take a question while I'm typing that. And we'll see what the answers are, Dave.
Okay. Let me see. Jaden Hagen. Jaden, I don't want to butcher your last name. I apologize. But Mr. Jaden, he says, I always dream of those who pass more often than not. It's them letting me know that they made it home. Absolutely. That happens. That's a good thing. That's a good thing to have. It's really nice when I try to tell people, even if you're not a medium, you can acquire this ability. You already have it. You just have to learn how to use it. Daniel Long says, I'd like to know, does it affect your dreams? She's talking about the
moon and the eclipse
and all that. So she says, I'd like to know, does it affect your dreams? I dream a Bigfoot came into my home and touched me and told me I was chosen. Crazy dream. Well, a dream analysis, dreams, me and Lorilei totally agree on this one. The very best person to interpret your dream is always going to be you. But I will say, in dreams, think about when you have that dream and recall it, ask yourself how you felt. Did you smell anything? What did you see and all that? Because that might be telling you that Bigfoot is something else in your dream and it came in as Bigfoot. Like if you look at Bigfoot as something that's undiscovered or something that's mysterious, maybe there is something undiscovered or mysterious about yourself that it's trying to loosen up in you. That would just be my interpretation. Or I mean, let's not rule out, if you live near a forest, maybe it's Bigfoot telling you, we're going to let us see you.
Well, you never know.
You never know. Yeah.
I'm just going to, so what I'm seeing a mix of what everybody's picking. So what I'm going to say is I'm typing, but it means you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with either choice because it seems an equal mix. Some people are saying all three. Some people are saying Smarties. Some people are saying M&Ms, right?
Yeah. Exactly. I would, or just have some popcorn.
So you were asked. She said so. She was asking about the dreams, and there's somebody else I'm going to highlight it. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 sec. And like I say, I wouldn't normally answer this, but believe it or not, it's an important question. So, and I don't give away anybody when they message me or send me something unless I ask their permission first. So, but they did ask. So I thought we got a whole group here. Why don't we ask the whole group? Okay. So there was another comment here about dreams, and Mish says, we should all spend 10 minutes in Lorilei's brain for 10 minutes. No, you don't want to be there. So Jaden Haygood, I see you're here. We haven't seen you. This is before, so welcome. They say, I always dream of those who passed, and more often than not, it's them just letting me know that they made it home. Did you say that already, Dave? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I answered already. I told that's a cool thing, and that's what I mean. You guys, this
Did you do Kimmy's too?
Yeah, I didn't do that. These things, like Jane just said, are possible for literally anybody. You just got to get yourself in the right frame of mind. Don't forget
And
that.
I think that that's the easiest way for our loved ones to connect with us. Grief is a normal human emotion.
Yeah.
There is no timetable, and it's very personal. But because we're in that grief state when we lose a loved one, and it happens with anything that we lose that matters to us as well, that it lowers your energy or vibration. And when people especially have passed over, going back home, their energy is on a higher vibration. So sometimes we'll meet people who say, I don't feel my loved one. I don't dream of them. I feel like they're not even here. Your loved ones are there checking in on you. Trust that.
Yeah.
But the easiest way for them to communicate with you is in the dream state, because you're wide open that way.
And I'll tell you, to connect with your loved ones or ghosts, I'm going to give you a really easy thing to visualize. Visualize a box fan. When the box fan is on low, that is you. That's the energy you're in. That's the vibration you're in.
With no fault or judgment. It's a normal state to be, especially.
That's our state we're supposed to be on. Yeah, we have to be that lowered. Our vibration has to be lowered in order to have this physical life. When we pass or go back home, even ghosts or whatever, it's like it's switched on high. It's so fast you can't see it. That's why I tell people that's usually why you can't see stuff with your eye. The vibration is so fast. It's like a fan. It's like you don't see the blade. Now, in order to connect with loved ones, ghosts, or anything else, I always tell people, you want to take your fan and go from low to medium. Because if you can go from low to medium, that means just raise your vibration a little bit. Whatever wants to contact you will lower their vibration a little bit, and you'll meet in the middle.
So I'm going to read some of these comments. Actually, I'll go up a bit and follow them in. Let me know if I missed that while I was typing. Hang on. So Danielle, you went through. Kimmy, I think this is interesting. She says, when I feel my mom's presence, I end up having to change loads of light bulbs in my house. And I have found that even with paranormal activity, especially in my previous home. And I've even had light bulbs blow. But everything's energy, right? And we're dealing with electricity, which is energy. So that can happen. Doesn't mean it's a demon. Everybody thinks it's a demon because
I found some very old beat up places around here as I was running around, and I'm really dying to go. Not that an old beat up place has more ghosts than a brand new house, but you can just tell when you see, like, what makes something haunted, as far as I'm concerned, is the energy that was left behind in that place. Unless it's and that would be if there's some residual energy and all that. I mean, there can be a spirit who hasn't left Earth that is still hanging out the house, and could make it haunted too. But these places have that feeling to it. It's like, I know there's something in there.
Oh yeah.
I just want to go.
And the one thing I'm going to ask after I read Mish's comments is, why is it always in the basement? Like whenever you watch something, you guys know I love the Foreman Brothers. I've already got my notification on to remind me they're going to be live tomorrow night, Paranormal Nightmare. I usually try and share them, but it's not just them. It seems like when people go to a really scary establishment or something with well-known activity, the basement seems to be the worst. And the thing I keep thinking is maybe more dark, more creepy. You got moisture and all kinds of stuff. Plus, the other thing Spirit just gave me, and thank you, is that people expect it's going to be creepy in the basement. So it's almost like the spirits are down there waiting for you.
It's the same. Yeah, when I'm in spirit, I'm just going to wait in the foyer. I'm just going to be like, let's just save you some time. You don't have to look in the basement.
I have actually said to my eldest son, now I've never expected him to have his younger brother come live with him. I have an adult with severe autism, obviously. I've talked about it many times. He didn't bring his brother into the world. His father and I did. But I've often said to him, if I'm gone and your brother is still here, I said, I am hoping the very least you will do is check on him several times a week. And if you don't, I'm coming back and I'm going to haunt you like crazy.
somewhere else. How many YouTube videos on how many scary things you see where they're like walking around the house, it's perfect, but they look up in the attic and there's the monster.
I forgot about the attic. Yeah.
I know that I sleep in it. My house, my whole upstairs was an attic at some point, and somebody finished it. So it's like one big long room.
Right.
That's my bedroom, but
I forgot about the attic. But people store a lot of things in the attic too. And we know that clutter and things like that, people probably store a lot of things in the basement too, can really hold stagnant, heavier, lower vibrational energy. Maybe that's why. But I'm going to read Mish's comment. She said, I would ring my dad every night at 8 p.m. or he would ring me after he passed. And I'm sorry that for your loss, Mish. She said, after he passed, my sister told me she was going to call me, or she was going to call me from my dad's phone, but she didn't. But there's probably more to that comment. Hang on, Mish, I'm looking for it. Did I miss it, Dave? I don't know if you finished it or not. If you did, yeah, I didn't see it, but if you want to add to it, feel free. So thank you for all your comments about Smarties or M&Ms or both. I pass that on. So I got to say this to Kimmy. She says, Smarties here. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Smarties here in Ohio are small, little, harder type candies in almost rainbow colors, kind of like sweet tarts. Yes, I have seen those. But Smarties in Canada, and we get different candy bars, as some of you may call that in the States. We call them chocolate bars in Canada. And I find that the northern states have a lot of our terms that we use. Instead of soda, we call it pop. Smarties are just like M&Ms, and I think they're a little bit smaller. And I love both of them, but I think I prefer Smarties because I think the chocolate's just a little bit different. I like the chocolate a little bit better.
No, we don't have them like that here. They have a knockoff of M&Ms that are like mini M&Ms called Smarties.
That's why I said I know you don't have it because you guys don't have Coffee Crisp, and I'm trying to think what other ones you don't have. There are a few candy bars that we have, or chocolate bars, that you guys don't have in the States, because especially Joe Montaldo, we got to give him a shout out. He's the one we're broadcasting out of his house out of New Orleans, Louisiana. He has a studio there, and he's provided this wonderful network for us. But that's the one thing is some of our hosts, I haven't ever done it. I've said I would, and I haven't because other people have already done it. We will send him, some of the hosts, chocolate bars or candy bars, and candy he can't get. Aero bars you guys don't get too. Aero bars are like heaven in a cloud to eat. Anybody that's Canadian in the chat or wherever you live, if you've had an Aero bar, you know what I'm talking about. So very quickly with the chocolate bar, Aero, it's got a beautiful chocolate covering, but on the inside it's whipped chocolate, but it looks like there's little bubbles all inside of it. It's just air whipped into the chocolate, and they make like black forest and truffle, and it's just like in Australia, I discovered the beauty and amazingness of, and I'm going to screw it up, Michelle, so please correct me. They're Tim something. They're not Timbits because that's from Tim Hortons. But the chocolate bar, you guys have like 40 different flavors of them. And I think you can they started in Australia. Those are like eating pure heaven, those cookies. So
Mitch says Tim Tam.
Thank you, Tim Tams. That's it. I found out about those on my old network, and we can actually get them here in Canada now, even at Walmart. And I usually pick up a package. They're like,
I want to market a Dave Neal Spiritual Mediums ghost bars.
Ghost bars? So they're so light and airy that there's nothing there. No calories.
It looks like a Snickers or something, but when you open the package, there's nothing inside.
There's nothing there, so there's no calories.
Yeah, they're very low calorie.
Did you answer that one, Dave, when I was typing? I didn't know from Connie Martins or not.
Do you think that we go? I didn't.
Oh, okay, well, go ahead. You can read it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Do you think that we go to different dimensions when we dream? Not every time, but I believe we do.
Absolutely, 100%.
I'm going
to ask a question. I'm going to ask a real quick question here.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you, and we're not blaming this on paranormal activity, but you've had a dream, and it's been a very vivid, wild dream, and you come back and say you were dreaming you were in a fight or something, and you come back with a scratch that you never had or a bruise? I know it has happened to me. It's happened to my
Oh,
partner
yeah.
and other people, lots of people. But let's see what people say. Have you guys had that?
That's a really good one. It's not, I can probably name the 2 times that happened to me where I had dreams about something physical and woke up with the physical thing. So I always tell myself one of the 2 things, either a physical thing happened to me in life and I dreamt about it, or I went someplace else. The weird thing is about dimensions is you're literally rifling through dimensions now. You're going through thousands and millions of them,
You can
like every
switch
couple of seconds.
timelines
Yeah,
without realizing
I
it.
mean, we're always switching timelines. That's, we talked about deja vu in the Mandela effect. It's because some people switch to another timeline where some people are still in that timeline. So that could be. And like that guy with the door, that was like the best video. I like that one. Whether it's fake or not, where the guy goes from room to room. I like that video. And I thought, I even thought, what could be an explanation of that? And I thought, maybe he found a place where he can freely cross across the timeline. You know?
Bye, Miss. She said, take care all. Cheers for a great show as always. Thank
Bye,
you for
Miss.
dropping in. So now lots of people are saying, and then I'm going to go to Kimmy's. It looks like she's got a bit of a question there. So thanks, Mish, if you're still there. She said Tim Tam and Tim Tam Slam. And then hang on. Where am I going here? Okay, so Kimmy says, this happened to her when I was asking the question, did you have a really vivid dream, wake up with a bruise or a scratch that you never had before you went to bed? She says, so often, especially as a child, it scared her mother to death. And Connie says, yes, I think I have. And Michelle Plummer, like stepping into another room or out of. And then, okay, so Connie, this is a good question. Then we're going to go back up to Kimmy's question. She says, what is jumping timeline? So you want me to jump in first, Dave, and then you'll go? Okay. So it gets a bit complicated, but to make it simply, there is a theory that there's many different dimensions, which I do believe, but there's a theory out there that there's actually a version of you. Every time you come up with an idea or you think about something, how many of you have been driving and all of a sudden, oh my God, I don't want to get in an accident, or you had a dream or a thought, or you imagine something. There is literally, every time you think of something, you kind of manifest it, if you will, or there's a version of you of every single scenario, different scenario in a different timeline. And how sometimes you can tell this, not always, so don't blame it on this, but one of the things is, you've had this conversation with somebody, especially maybe someone close to you. They were listening. That's important. And the next day, you bring up that conversation again, and the person acts like they've never heard it. They don't even know what you're talking about. They don't remember it. Now, I'm not saying that's a definitive factor for you've jumped a timeline. But the thing is, think about the Mandela effect. And the theory is that we as a population around the world kind of shifted into a different timeline. So that's why things that we knew, say if you're our age, that existed, no longer exist in this present time or this present timeline. Go ahead, Dave, jump in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you, and I'll even make it, I'll even add to that and make this even easier. If this is my understanding, of course, is my understanding. What Lorilei said, if we say jumping timelines, if you're talking about when people talk about actually jumping a timeline, what we're doing is we are jumping. We're actually jumping not to the next timeline. We're jumping to the timeline that we prefer, that we're trying to be in, the one that we're thinking about in our head. We want to jump to that timeline so we can get there faster. Otherwise, you have to rifle through all the others to get there. If you look at where you are as a flip book, remember like a flip book with the stick guy who's walking and you got to do the pages? That's basically what you're doing. You're walking through a flip book. But if you're going to jump timelines, look at it this way. While the flip book is going, you grabbed like 5 pages and just skipped ahead and just went.
And you don't have to do it consciously either.
Yeah. You don't have to do it consciously. If it's, let's say on one timeline, you're going to get really hurt. And maybe the powers that be, which is your higher self, not guides, not God, not anything else, your higher self decides that's not going to be good to go through that. It's not necessary. I'm going to have you jump timelines to avoid that. And what Lorilei alluded to earlier, which I also agree with, is if you were talking about Oh God, now I forgot. It just left my head. I must have jumped a timeline.
This happens with my partner and I all the time.
Yeah.
And I know he's been listening to me. We've had the conversation, or he'll say to me, yeah, we talked about this. And no, we didn't. Him and I are on two different trajectories and even energy vibrational levels and what. And I've even said to him, I don't know if you jumped a timeline or I did, but we didn't have that conversation.
Yeah. Oh, this is what I was going to agree with you on. Like, I've had people say to me, like, for instance, hey, you remember yesterday I went over to somebody's house and they would be like, David, I told you yesterday not to come over till 5. And I said, no, you never told me that. Mm-hmm. So it could be one of two things. One, your friend is stupid and doesn't remember, or what Lorilei was saying, someone jumped the timeline in there and the other one wasn't there. So when it catches up, it's going to look like, hey, I never had that conversation with you. And the other one's like, I could swear I had it with you. So more weird things can happen. And quantum physics, Lorilei.
I was going to bring that up and I thought, no, I'm not bringing it up, but okay. Yeah.
I won't go too bad into it. Me and Lorilei are probably talking about quantum physics.
For hours.
But quantum theories have proven that there are multiple timelines. There's the quantum field, and people who are quantum healers, that's what they do. They train or teach or just already know how to go into somebody else's quantum field, possibly to heal them in some way. There's very many different ways we can do that. But I believe that we won't go too much quantum on you guys. But yeah, quantum theory has proved it. I mean, quantum theory is the one that's catching up with spirituality fastest.
Okay, so you guys were right on the hour. I usually get talking and I forget, but if you're just tuning in, you are listening to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. We are broadcasting also on 105.3 FM out of Mississippi and 107.7 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And this is The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. I am joined by my wonderful friend, amazing medium and gifted psychically, David Hanzel, and myself, Lorilei Potvin. So thank you for joining us, and we love having you here. Julie goes, or maybe you're just getting forgetful. That could be something, but when it starts to happen a few times, you start to realize I'm not going crazy.
You know what's really funny is just to go on that, just to show you how when weird crap happens or trauma happens, before I had my NDE, I could not remember my childhood for the life of me. I couldn't. I literally was like, there's no baby pictures of me. There's nothing. After my NDE now, my memory of little small things that have happened to me from 2 years old, 3 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, conversations have come back, which is really weird. But the other factors of that in too is I drank before I had my NDE, and I don't drink at all. I don't know if that played some part in it, you know, but my memory is a lot better now. But that's a funny joke, and trust me, I really like
feeling too, right? Like, because there's all kinds of things. I do want to read this. So Jaden Haygood says, I'm having a deja vu right now. Matter of fact, if you'd like to share more, you're more than welcome. If not, we'll leave it as a comment. Connie, I'm going to get to your comment, but also Kimmy says, I have dreamt that I went and picked up a friend who is alive and took him on a little trip, which felt like we went to Scotland, as other people, but the same. He described it to me the next day. So it's like we met in our dreams. Is that astral travel? Yes. Or you guys could, your higher selves or whatever you want to call it. I've met many people that's happened, believe it or not, have been in the same dream. And remember, there is no time on the other side. Past, present, and future are all the same thing. That's a man-made concept. So you said you weren't seeing yourself as yourselves, but as others. So you could even have been visiting another timeline back when you had a previous past life. That's what I'm picking up anyways.
Yeah, you could. Another thing, if depending on the lyric or the label that it's given, I agree with Lorilei. Yeah. You can, that could be you guys or it could just be a shared spirit experience too. I would say you guys should go to Scotland.
But if they both had the same dream that he described it to her without her saying, I think they met there.
Or I would say if you had the dream like that, but you literally both looked at each other and said, we were standing right here and said that, that would be OBE. out of
True,
body.
it could be an out of
Out of
body.
body.
But
But
yeah, but that's
astral,
kind of what astral travel
is different.
is. Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
what astral
astral.
travel is, right?
No,
It's
OBE
your,
is different. Yeah, OBE,
I
the
know
out of
it's
body is
different, but I would
you're
call it
very
OBE
conscious.
something when you're aware of it. Okay, because I
Yeah,
know people that have done astral travel and you are basically coming out of your body. Like I've talked to people who have looked down on their body, which we would call an OBE. And I know people that have done it when they've been awake and didn't realize they were starting out with it. And then they got freaked out and got snapped back into their body really quick. And it's not a comfortable experience.
Yeah, astral is I guess it's going through the soul or something, but I had a lot of OBEs during my coma, which is why they weren't dreams. I was literally walking in real time around and listening to other people.
Okay, but if you think of an OBE and you hear people talking about it, what they talk about, a lot of people, is they literally all of a sudden are no longer in their body and they can look down, they can see all kinds of things.
Yeah, that's part of an OBE. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. And you know what? If these freaks out there would actually go and take all the evidence from actual OBEs where people did like what I did, where they talked to somebody, could tell you the conversation and all that stuff, that would totally prove that consciousness goes on after death.
Oh, absolutely. And I think like I believe everything you've said, and you've told me so many things about your experience that you've been able to verify after the experience that there's no way you would have known it had you not gone through the experience.
Exactly.
But whether it's your soul or it's your higher self, it's with the silver cord, I call it your astral body. So if you're having an OBE, I know people that can do it purposefully, and there is a way to learn how to do that.
You can. Exactly.
Right. So again, I think it's potato.
You know what, Marlene?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you said potato. As I was sitting here and we were talking about this, I also thought too, OBE, astral, lucid dream, and all this stuff. You got to go. How do they get divided?
Well, lucid, the only reason I understand it. Now, you guys can check her out. She's going to be going on mat leave soon, but Lana Sackwild I had on my show, and that's her whole practice. This girl is amazing. She's been able to lucid dream ever since she was a child. She is very successful with her business. I think she's in her late 20s, early 30s. This girl went from being completely addicted to drugs, I think homeless, and at 19, she got clean, and she decided she was going to go to Japan. Okay, she met the love of her life. They live back in the States. Now she's expecting her first baby, successful business. But this girl has taught herself how to speak Japanese during lucid dreaming. She makes use of the dream space. So basically 24 hours a day, and people sometimes can do it naturally. To make it very simple, lucid dreaming, you are awake in your dream. So say you're having a nightmare, you are able to tell yourself, I'm having a nightmare. I don't wish to continue with this. I want to see something else. And you can control your dream state.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And when people lucid, like you said, but you wonder, that's why I asked, during astral travel, when you really think about it, astral travel is supposed to be the soul leaving the body, but so does OBE, which is odd. And then lucid dreaming is that a point of astral travel because you're controlling it. It's so weird the way all the definitions
I never could tell the difference before years ago. And I have to agree with you, Dave, because you're not physically there.
Yeah.
But we know we can astral travel in our dreams. So I have to agree with you.
But in OBE, that feels, it's almost like you're physically there. I can't remember touching anything. I do remember flying a lot.
I remember lots of I can tell you the dream I had almost 16, I think, years ago, that basically something, now whether it was a demon or what, it identified as that and told me that it's a long story. I've repeated it many times on this show. It feels like I had that 10 minutes ago. That was a very, very astral travel kind of lucid type dream that I physically felt like I was right in front of the tree in my front yard having that conversation. And I could still see what that guy was wearing, what he looked like. I remember word for word with the conversation. And I've had a few dreams like that. And I don't always remember my dreams. And I was wondering why. And then I realized I don't sleep much. Yeah. And the reason why I don't sleep much, and this isn't a pity cry or anything, it's just life. I have a bad back. I've had a severe back injury. So I sleep when I can. And when I can't, I do things that bring me joy, basically. So I don't think I'm in the dream state long enough to have a real dream. I do from time to time. It's just not every single night.
I do know that this is what I do know. Astral as well as lucid occur during the REM stage of sleep, which I believe we have 3 or 4 times a night. I can't remember. But an OBE can actually, like Lorilei said earlier, which is very important, you can learn how to do an OBE. You can learn
do all the stuff, learn how to do it.
Yeah, you can go up to your bedroom at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and say, I just need to get out of this body for a minute. And you can learn how to do that, and you will. And for most people who do that, though, statistically, you're not gone for a super long time. You're always going to get snapped back into your body for some reason. But that's a safeguard that we have here.
That's the silver cord, right? And then when you do actually pass away, now again, I don't know how they know this unless you're working through mediums or something, but the theory is that the silver cord is what attaches you to your physical body. And when you leave, it actually, if you will, just gets snipped and you're able to completely.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people in NDE say, that once they are, our spirits will tell you, once, if you're going into the light, if that's something you need to do in order to transition, if you're going into the light's the one that severs that cord. So
that's a good answer.
Yeah, that's kind of
not everybody that has a near-death experience sees the light.
They don't, because I didn't go into a light. I seen it all from the side, and they just took me from here to there. It was like very quick. It's like everything.
I've heard people that have written stuff that I've read that literally passed away, and when they opened their eyes, they were in a meadow. Other people have been traveling with a guide or an angel and going through all the phases of all the universes. I've had stories of people talking about one in particular that always wanted to go to New York and was never able to go there. They had an NDE, and they said their guide, they went and visited New York, and that the guide took them back to a specific time period. I believe it might have been in the 1940s. They were very, very curious and really drawn to this and wanted to know more about it. So everybody's NDE is different, and everybody has different experiences, right? So, and again, we have an NDE because whether we contract to have it, I believe we do, before we incarnate into this lifetime, and it's meant to be personal to you, because it's what you take from it and what it teaches you, right? That experience.
I believe so. Daryl has said something very interesting. He's the dude who channels Bashar, whether you believe it or not.
I like Daryl.
But Daryl was talking about NDEs one time, and he had almost the same thing. He had said, for the people who have them here, it is kind of planned. It's literally a reset that you said, I may need to do this reset. So ta-da. And that's what happened. I know a lot of people, and God bless them, they're so sweet. Every time they know about my story, like older people, I was like, well, God needed you to stay here. I'm like, yeah, I did.
Yeah, but if that works for them, it works for them.
That's what I say. It's the most beautiful thing. It's all how you look at it and see it.
So Tessa asked at the beginning of this, sorry guys, I'm going to go back because I think it's important. So from her first question, she then said, so then do you think, regarding timelines, do you think that one of our other selves can warn us in this timeline of any dangers or help us in a situation? Where I'm going to go with that is, depending on, I guess, what you planned, right? You don't know what the big master plan is, right? So could they come through? I guess if your higher self really needed to, I guess, could come through. I'm trying to think if I've heard of it. I may have once or twice heard of that. I'm going to say anything is possible from the other side.
Anything is. I'm going to say from my beliefs now, or my opinion of it right now in this moment in time, because it could change. I've had stuff change that I'm like, I was dead set on something, but then I kind of understood it differently and said, oh, that was the wrong belief, wasn't it, Dave? And then I change it. But anyway, with when you were talking about our future selves, Lorilei hit it on the head. It wouldn't be your future self really as much coming back to warn you. It would be your higher self.
Your higher self.
Although the higher self might make it, if you didn't talk to your higher self and didn't believe in your higher self, it could literally show up as a future you to give you that information.
I was just going to say that because I'm hearing this from spirit right now. So I say thank you. I believe that if you were meant to have the experience of receiving a warning from whether it's a future self, your higher self, whatever it is, it's going to appear to you in a way that's not going to freak you out.
Well, can you get Leslie's comment? Let's answer Leslie's.
Where am I going, up or down?
Up. You'll see if you cross timelines, are you both that one?
Okay, let me go. Am I going up or down as I'm going? You can see what I'm doing. Am I going down?
You go up. Oh, wait, go down. Oh, I'm sorry.
I see.
Okay. This is a really cool question. I think it's a very cool question that I know something. I know something about. And like I said,
you want to read it, Dave, for our listeners?
Yep. Before I answer, I'm going to tell you once again, this is from my perspective and my opinion. It doesn't, just because I said it does not make it word. You search your own heart and figure out if it's good for you or not. But this says, Leslie, good question. If you cross timelines, are you in both times at the same time, or does someone else take your place?
It's a good question.
While you are, this is you. Okay, this is David. Let's say this fifth is David. David has several Davids playing out at the same exact time. It's literally just me. If you skip a timeline, you skip the timeline. There's nothing else behind you doing anything else. We look at the world as a linear place. We're in the middle right now, okay? Anything behind you is no longer relevant. Like, not now. It could be later on.
It's almost like the timeline behind you closes.
Yes, exactly. Very good. Let's put it that way. The timeline behind you is now no access. We are now closed for business. But the timeline in front of you is not. So all you're doing is dragging yourself someplace else, basically. There isn't anybody left behind here. It becomes another, we're closed. We're closed. Every time you jump, it's like, sorry, we're closed. Sorry, we're closed. That's kind of how I think of it. Does that make sense?
I agree with you, but let's talk about time travel.
Yeah.
Now, whether you believe time travel exists or not, you can look into the Philadelphia experiment. You can look into all kinds of things. I truly believe time travel exists. And the reason why I do, and again, my opinion, and just from the research I've done and stuff, my theory is what we as the general population globally are aware of. I believe that whether it may be government, science, whatever it is, they are 50 to even 100 years ahead that we haven't even seen it yet. Maybe they're still testing it, whatever it is. So there is a theory, and I believe it to be true because it kind of goes along with the concept of the butterfly effect, that say you were able to time travel. Okay. And you can look up Andrew Bashago. He's got quite a platform talking about his dad worked for, I think, the CIA. Howie, correct me if I'm wrong. I know you'll know this story. And there are pictures of him going back to the times of Abraham Lincoln and what have you. He's now an adult and a lawyer. One of these days, I got to get him on my show. I have a way to contact him, and then I always get booking and I forget. I got to have him on my show. But the thing is, right, you can believe him or you don't. The pictures he's produced came long before Photoshop and everything else. Okay. But there's a theory that you can create a paradox if you see yourself in the future or the past that you're visiting that timeline and you still exist, which means, or if you change something drastically where you're visiting time in the future or in the past, that you alter the timeline. You alter the way things were supposed to play out in the timeline you're visiting. It starts to get complicated sounding. So it's a good question that you asked.
It is, because there's another thing too. I mean, I was going to try to put it in, but if I can't put it in a good way, then I'm not going to. Whenever you change, every day and every moment that especially when you get through something here, your past changed. It is no longer relevant. You are now the person who went from that up. So let's say I become, I no longer acknowledge anything bad from my childhood, and I just moved on to forget about it. As you did that, if you literally could look back at your timeline now, that never happened in your childhood. So I guess you are changing the past all the time, which does lead into what you said. That is a good theory, and I've heard that theory before as well. I think,
Heck, it's even in Harry Potter.
yeah,
Prisoner of Azkaban, with Hermione using the time turner to get to all her double classes, and they use it at the end of the movie. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. I guess I'm going to give away some of it.
Spoiler.
They use the time turner to go back in time and change the travesties that had occurred before they went back in time. And they did change it. So
yeah, you never know. And there are people, when somebody said,
hi, Nicole Thomas Ryan. She says, hi from the beach. Glad that you're joining us from the beach. Enjoy.
Contessa said, is there,
I'll go back. Are you saying, is there a way? And then I'll go back to that comment if you want.
Yeah. So real quickly, Contessa Martin says, is there a way to do this timeline jump, or does it just happen and we don't know it's happening? One, you're constantly rifling through the timelines that you don't realize. It's just so fast. But when you do the jump, yes, there are certain things you can do to do that jump, and I can't explain them all here. Just go ahead and look up jumping timelines. There's a little experiment you can do, which I have done, taking 2 glasses of water and a Post-it note of like things you really want in your life, and you pour the water in another glass and you drink it. And it does seem like you're switching timelines. Things start happening to you. I don't know exactly how it all works. I really don't. And that's about the best of the ability that I have. Our brains can't comprehend that. Mostly, they couldn't give us instruction from the other side, because I don't know if you ask Lorilei, she'll probably say the same thing. As far as the spirit world, sometimes there are literally no words to describe what you're being told or what you saw.
Absolutely. But the other thing I'd like to add, if you really want to know how to do this, you can do some research. But the other thing you could do, and there's many things I agree with Dave that come into play here. To physically jump a timeline, right? You're altering your path, and maybe you're not meant to be on that path. But I would work with your guides and all your team on the other side. If you don't know how, you can set the intention before you go to sleep, if you remember your dreams, and ask them to come through with information. Now, if you are meant to receive it, you will. Exactly. If you're not, but they will tell you the best way, and everybody is different. So if you really want to do it, I'm quite sure you could. Every decision you make, right? Every decision you make, everything you create, you imagine. We are so powerful as human beings. We create the existence that we are in, and we're staying away from a lot of spiritual. And I know you guys love to talk about, we will get back to it, but it's spooky month that we're trying to stay on spooky.
Let me do one more. Go ahead.
Very quickly. There are people out there that are listening to us that their comments are not showing up here. I am not sure why, because Shannon and Sean just messaged me. They said, you can't see our comments. And I said, no, I can't. I know Howie thought, or said that Tanya, his sister, was joining us. So if you guys are listening and we're not highlighting your comments, it's because we're not seeing them. It seems on Facebook. Feel free to come over and join us on Dave's got his YouTube channel, The Spirit Experience. You can go to the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin, or UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio on YouTube, all 3 of those, and we will see your comments. Because go ahead and say what you're going to say, because Sean have a question. They have a question.
You can use this in a spooky way as well if you want to do this. Like, say you want to manifest, I want the ability, I want to be open to seeing ghosts. Or if you're manifesting like $1 million, or you're manifesting a new toaster or whatever, when you're manifesting something, it's not coming to you. You're going to it. It's literally there already. You just got to match the vibration. As soon as you think about something, it's there. I thought about my hand, so my hand's here. Now, you want to get from here to the hand. That is kind of tricking your subconscious and letting your subconscious know that this thing is possible and this is possible. As you're doing that, you are going to that timeline. So that's how I look at it that way anyway.
I'm going to add something else. And Crafted by V has joined us on Instagram. So hopefully we're still streaming over there, because they like to cut off after an hour. Julie Jean Bassett also added, each decision we make can shift our timeline. I
Absolutely.
agree.
Absolutely.
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 There was, so Sean and Shannon, Kathy Hanley Little, we will get your, I'm glad you guys are asking these questions because we love when you do.
Yeah.
She's got a great question, but Sean and Shannon, and I apologize that again, that I'm glad you let me know, Shannon, that we're not seeing your comments. So she says, what are your thoughts on dreams within dreams? I've heard of it before.
Oh, I've had it. Remember, my shadow people were dream within a dream.
Mm-hmm. So what's your thoughts? Can it happen? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And
That's
sure.
the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it mean anything more specific? No. The other thing I'm going to pass along,
we're telling you this not because we read it or we thought about it. Literally happened to us. That's why we're just saying yes, and there's nothing more we can really say.
There was something I was going to say. No, it had to do with dreams. I know what it is. And Dave and I have talked about this before, and I know we agree on this. The best person to interpret the dreams you are having is you, because they are personal to you. And the way I can even prove it to you, I encourage you to look up, pick something and look it up what it means in a dream. You will find 20 or 30 different, way more. I'm just picking a number out of the air, that it means what it means in a dream. Okay. Yeah. So the best way, and I suggest it, and I do try to follow the talk that I talk and the walk that I walk. I keep notebooks by my bedside, a pen by my bedside. If I wake up and I've had a dream, like I've been having songs every morning for some reason, I have no idea. I write them down. Now I know when I go back through this, it might take a month or so. I'm either going to see a pattern or a story will start to develop. The dream is about you, and there are many different types of dreams. So some are prophetic. I was going to go back to one of the comments in here that they had made. Shannon, we can see you now. She says, I think I may have finally found out, our way to you both. Yes. I don't know what's going on with Facebook because we've noticed that there was someone else. So Facebook, if we're not addressing your comments, we are very sorry. We are streaming to all our platforms. There's little green check marks I can see. I'm not really sure why that's not working, but I do want to go back to, if you don't mind, Dave, it was Jaden. They said, when I was 5, I had my NDE. I remember it as if it happened yesterday. I had an OBE in 2016 and had a ton of quote unquote prophetic dreams. All of it has come true except the stuff regarding me, unfortunately. What I wanted to add to that is maybe they were showing you a different timeline or potentialities or possibilities for yourself. Maybe you were meant to take the lesson to learn from the experience. There's many reasons maybe why it hasn't applied to yourself. That's a very interesting thing that you shared. Feel free, Dave, if you want to add something.
Well, it kind of makes sense that happens in my eyes, just because a lot of the prophetic things about myself I can't see. My guides will nudge me towards a different space. Although, when you are, let's say, doing the whole manifesting state thing, if you start having dreams about the thing that you're manifesting, that means you're really close.
Mm-hmm. Julie Jean Bassett says major life events can also shift your timeline, such as a layoff gets you out of your comfort zone and helps you get back on your path. And she's so right about that. You guys, sometimes when the worst things that have happened in life, and I'm going to go from my own experience, when I look back, and sometimes it takes a couple of years, and I think we have to try to be objective and step back and look at the whole picture. I've realized if that event hadn't happened, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have had the many wonderful blessings and things that have happened, nor would I have learned the wisdom that came out of that situation. And so whenever I'm late or I get held up by a train and I'm going to be late, I remind myself there's a reason why this happened and why I've been delayed. Had the train not been there, maybe I would have had an accident. Something could have happened, right?
There's an old saying I heard, I can't remember who said it, like, if things are meant to be, they're meant to be. Like, if you do get caught in a traffic jam, it might not necessarily have anything to do with you later on. It could be for the car next to you. Maybe all this traffic jam happens. So this
it's not always about us.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's the best way to put it. Sometimes those things aren't always about us. Not at all.
And I know, for example, and I don't ever betray somebody's confidence from a reading, but I will take the lesson out of it. I remember one time I had a client that wanted to know why they were having this It was a toxic type relationship. And what I was getting from spirit and what was coming through, they were a big believer in the law of attraction, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they thought that they had drawn this to them. But what was coming through from spirit was they didn't draw this person into their own life. The toxic person, that was part of their contract for them to be in their life. They could take whatever was good from that relationship. They could choose to make changes should they have chosen. They didn't, and that's okay, right?
Yeah.
We have free will. We can screw it all up. But it wasn't about my client manifesting somebody toxic in their life when they'd really been working on spirituality and positivity. They were part of that other person's contract, if you will, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So Kathy, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, go ahead. I don't remember which this was a comment from.
Oh, so Kathy Hanley Little said, aren't you doing that when you sever karma contracts? And I think what she was talking about is switching timelines.
Well, do you know what? Let's put it this way, and maybe we'll move on to something scary.
And then she said, change the past.
Yeah, all the timelines.
And I have spooky stuff. I'll cue it up while you're talking, Dave. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. There are mechanics to everything we're going through. If you ask yourself, do I need to always be aware of that timeline, John? No, you don't need to be aware of it at all. It's just going to happen no matter what you're doing. If you have a purpose to your timeline, you're going to pay more attention to it. So I kind of think, to answer your question, where was the end of that question?
She said, changing the past is what she meant.
Oh, no, not that one. It's karmic contacts. Yeah, in a way, that's what you're doing in karmic contracts. But you're not. It's not because you switched to timeline. And because if you just switch the timeline for a karmic contract, guess what? The karmic contract is still existing. You have to fix the karmic contract, and then you'll shift the timelines into where it has already been fixed.
But it was a good question.
It was a great question.
You guys always ask the best questions. I really do say this to guests that say I've never had them on my show. I let them know that both the Angel Rock and this show are very audience participative, and that we have an incredible audience that is so intelligent, asks the best questions, and we love that you guys are kind to one another too. Now, Jaden adds, sorry, Dave?
I said my hair is it's got a mind of its own.
Oh, well, God, look at mine. He says, or he or she, I should say, they say that was sage advice. Thank you. Maybe I'm closer than I think, and I just need to be patient. Yes.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's actually, if I always tell people when you're manifesting, like I've done like this house and everything else, it's literally doing the dream and knowing you're going to get it and having that feeling and just keeping that feeling all through it. Especially before you go to bed. If you're having dreams about it, it means that you're just really close. And it is like Lorilei said, it's kind of giving you a quick lesson of temperance or patience.
Mm-hmm. So you guys, there is a new Nukes Top 5. I'm trying to decide what one I want to show you guys first. Hang on. I'm going through here. I'm taking a look. So all of them were good, but some of them were really creepy, some of the stuff. Let me just go through here really quick.
While you're scrolling through, I have a theory about ghosts and timelines. I think ghosts have stopped rifling through the timelines. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's why I think like maybe they seem like they're stuck or something, because they're just basically reliving the same timeline over and over and over.
Well,
and over.
I think there's a difference if it's residual, right?
Oh, no, that's residual. That's different. But okay, I'm saying an intelligent spirit might just be experiencing the same timeline.
I don't know, because I think
I don't know this. This is just theoretical.
We know how incredible we are as human beings and all the gifts and things that we are capable of doing that we've never been told we can do. Okay. But you're not limited. I think when you're in spirit form, definitely not when you go home, but when you're earthbound, I don't know, Dave. You know, I'm sitting here thinking about it because
I was
I've
just
never
trying
been
to-
able to ask an earthbound spirit, are you able to switch timelines? Because they're not constantly always with you. Say if you're connecting with them, where do they go when they're not connecting
They
with them?
might not be in any timeline. They might not be in any
Yeah.
timeline. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the clue, that they're not in a timeline at all instead of a repeating timeline. Maybe they're not in one at all. Very interesting, though. And like I said, we will search this stuff out until the day they lay us down in the dirt. I'll always be looking at that.
Okay, so we're going to show you a few spooky videos. I may have to rifle through a few. I just watched this the other day, but I knew it was a pretty good one. For those of you who don't know who Nuke's Top 5 is, and they're not always have great videos, but there's some pretty interesting ones in here. And one of them I'm going to try to get to. It was kind of cool what she caught on camera. And I believe it was a spirit. You see what you think. But yeah, they're on YouTube. They have, I think, 4 million plus subscribers, and people send in videos to them. And Shannon, I'm going to give you a shout out because you introduced me to Bizarre Bub. I don't think he's got anything out new yet. I didn't get a chance to check today. At first I was like, but I actually prefer Bizarre Bob now. So thank you for suggesting that YouTube channel. And he gets videos sent in, but both of these channels don't tell you what to think. They leave it all up to you. And Jaden also added about earthbound spirits, or maybe they're stuck in between timelines.
Yeah, it could be anything. It could be, like I said, none of us know, and the ones who do know, I don't know if they have the tangible things to verify it. I mean, it could just be like what
I think it's some food for thought. And
I love thinking about it over and over.
I thought it was a great one. So just so you guys know, we're on YouTube, so we have to follow YouTube's guidelines. So just to play fair with them, I will have to stop the video, make a few comments in between. It's kind of part of their fair use, because we can't just play the video and not say anything. And hey, we're okay with that. So hang on. We're going to add it to the stage. Okay, hang on.
Stage.
Okay, let's see where this one goes. Hopefully this is the one I'm going to...
Cases even see or communicate with the other side. In this next video, a father is home alone with his son when the toddler seems to spot something truly
but it
bizarre.
kicks into the next one.
Mama. Your mom is
This wasn't that impressive.
There's no one there. Mama. Are you seeing ghosts?
Yes. It just says yes.
In another creepy video posted by Kurt Harris, his family is visiting his grandmother in Chicago when his little cousin Daisy says something that is downright chilling.
That's the man come to see me now.
Who come to see you at night?
The man.
What man? What man?
This is cool.
Up there?
Uh-huh.
He did. Little Daisy claims that the relative in an older photo on the wall visits her at night. Now, the only problem with that is, well, he did.
Up there?
Uh-huh.
He did. In fact, the man in the photo passed away in 2005, over 14 years before little Daisy was even born. She has never even met the man. Or did she actually meet his ghost? You decide.
Up there?
Uh-huh.
He did. The Crescent.
So what you guys think of that?
I loved the second one was really good. I like the second one. I mean, I don't believe it has to be a ghost. She literally could just be seeing spirits like we do for mediumship. But
so my thoughts are, and I love to look at children's stories. I've looked at many, many, many along with the NDEs. I believe that the spirit of the grandfather is visiting the little one during
that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's the spirit of them. It's not like a traditional ghost. The first one, I liked that one as well too.
It wasn't impressive to me, the first one.
Yeah, I needed more context.
I thought it was funny.
That kid was old enough to play along with that.
I think that kid was about 2.5. So the fact that the kid said yes, they could be on a phase where they say yes to everything that week. So
Exactly. That's why I said that one's not verifiable whatsoever.
I wasn't impressed. But the first part it cut off, that was video number 10. And it was talking about how children can see spirits. And I agree with Nicole Thomas Ryan. She said, I think little kids see spirits all the time. And when I work with people that are having paranormal experiences and need some help, I have a questionnaire, as most of us do. And one of the first questions I ask is, do you have small children or pets? Now, my belief is young children can see spirits, as can pets. I believe they live in the now. I also believe their work is play, even animals and children. And so the beauty in that is, moving it forward, we were all little children once, which means more than likely you may have been able to see spirit as a small child. I don't believe in imaginary friends. I believe that kid is seeing and interacting with something, but we may have forgotten as we've gotten older. So just like hopping on a bike, if you haven't ridden it in 40 years, you may have thought you forgot, may take a bit of work and practice, but you may very well be able to access those abilities.
Yeah. As long as I believe to this, I have the same belief. All babies, all children are still connected to that world and can most likely see them.
Yes.
What happens though is, as we're here, because we can see them, we just think it's natural. But then guess what happens? The world starts telling us, you're crazy. There's no such thing.
You're too old. You're too old to be doing this. It's your imagination.
That's where that ability gets just goes out. It's like,
that's why I believe everybody has intuitive abilities. And if for people that don't believe it, have you ever been guilty of saying, I'm going to trust my gut on this? I feel it in my gut. Well, guess what? Those are your intuitive abilities. Now, Jennifer M. says, my sister's deceased father-in-law's ghosts visit them and she sees them, meaning I believe children in your life, it sounds like. My nephew, Jaden says, has seen my stepmom more than once. So I for sure believe that kids can see spirit. He also, I really appreciate this. Jaden says, as a first-time viewer, I'll be a regular viewer. Thanks, y'all. And we're happy to have you. And for anybody that's on Facebook, if we're not seeing your comments, I apologize. People have put various comments here that Facebook's been screwing up with comments. And so we are not ignoring you on purpose. So you may want to hop over to YouTube for the last about 20 minutes that we got left. Either the Spirit Experience, David's channel, the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin's Mind, or you can go to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio on Facebook. And not Facebook, sorry, it is on Facebook. All on YouTube. We will see your comments. It helps Shannon and Sean. They said they solved the issue. Where am I? Julie says, children are often more open to spirits and are often, or I think they often say they call them their imaginary friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I always tell parents when I'm working with them, if they're bringing up that their child is talking about an imaginary friend, I always suggest they may want to find out more about the imaginary friend. Not in a way like, what are you saying? What is it? What is it? You're freaking me out. I've seen parents do that.
Yeah, let me give you guys a piece of advice who are listening from all over. If you have a child that is seeing that stuff, they're like 3, 4, 5, whatever. Like Lorilei said, don't right away go at it like it's bad. I mean,
or people do this, Dave. I've seen on so many videos. Oh my God, you're freaking me out. Like, stop it. There's nothing there.
Yeah, I know. If a child does that, the best thing, what Lorilei said, is to do it like this. You know, you see something. Really, did they say their name and can I meet them? Is it okay?
What do they look like?
Yeah.
What are they telling you?
Yeah, trust me. The little 4-year-old that goes, they're telling me to hurt the neighborhood. That's not the spirit of ghost. That's something different.
Yeah, but sometimes I have seen children when people have had paranormal experiences, and it doesn't mean it's a demon, okay? It just may mean, just remember, if you weren't a very nice person in life, you are not going to suddenly, if you are earthbound and for whatever reason have not crossed over, there are many, you are not suddenly going to do a 180 and become all love and light. Right? Not everybody is running around thinking about love and light. And sometimes I have seen children who will see the spirit the way it passed away. Can you imagine if they were burnt in a fire? And it doesn't mean they're evil, but they could be very scary for a child to see something like that. So it's very important to find out a lot more information about whom and what, if you will, boy, girl, older person, younger person, whatever, and find out what's going on. Mm-hmm. So Shannon says, when my nephew was 2, him and mom were coming downstairs. He stopped, waved at the top of the closet and said, "Hi, Grandpa." Oh, I love that. And she said then he had no clue Grandpa's ashes were kept there. Aw, thank you guys for sharing these stories.
I love that.
And then Kimmy says, my baby boy wakes up every morning giggling and smiling up and in the northwest corner of the twins' nursery. I know it's your mama. Aw.
Yay.
Love that. And Howie, I was thinking this. Agreed. He says women deem to have more, and he's talking about intuition than with men. But you know what? I'm wondering with that. I've really thought about that because I've heard that many times. And women do have a strong sense of intuition, this isn't any diss on anybody, but traditionally a woman is the one that carries a baby to fruition, gives birth, right? Like I can tell you from the time I was pregnant, never mind I didn't sleep much, but the minute I gave birth to that child, and I had been around children my whole life, worked in the NICU, worked in nursery, worked in all kinds of stuff like that, I was astounded. I had been in labor for 5 days with no sleep, so I was exhausted after I had this first child of mine. The minute that kid made the first little, not even a just started to cry, I woke up and I was like this. I was still shocked to this day, and my kid is 29. I'm getting goosebumps as I tell you. It was literally like my hearing had tuned in, everything had tuned in, and I don't know if it's part of that. Plus, women traditionally, it's always been okay to express our emotions versus a man, and we also are very communicative. So I don't know if that's what it is, but I think we're all able.
I think it is. That's what it is. Because like you said, men, unfortunately, because of history, just like women, were told by the people beforehand that they don't show emotion, they don't cry, they don't do anything. In order to do stuff in the spiritual world like me and Lorilei does, or Kathy Hanley, any of us, we have to have emotions. We have to have emotions, and we have to be able to express that, and we have to be able to do that. And that's why I think there's less men. And then men were always told that was a very crazy thing. That was just, no, that's not true. You're a big baby, whatever. Women.
But I've been thinking about this, Dave. Traditionally with men were the hunters and gatherers. Yeah. And, when you look back into the days long before where we are now, many of the tribes will talk about this, whether it's in Africa, First Nations, whatever it is, Aborigines around the world, they are able to track an animal from just looking at, and even if touching the animal print, and be able to see it and follow it. So men do have intuition, right? But I think it's in touch with what you said, your feelings. We also have to do a lot of healing, right? We've all run into things that can kind of, if you will, weigh us down. So we need to deal with some of that stuff, but getting in touch with your feelings too, I think really helps.
Exactly. You need to. So that's our TED Talk on that.
That's our TED Talk. So Howie says, hello and welcome, Father Jaden. I didn't realize there was a father in front of that, but welcome, Father Jaden. Okay, we got time for one more. Shall we squeeze one more in?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Hi, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin's here. Hi, Kevin. I figured you'd just be getting off work. I was thinking about you about 10 minutes ago, thinking Kevin should be popping in soon. So this one was kind of cool. It's not that long, but hang on.
Hotel. Built over 138 years ago, the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas has become infamous for its dark history full of death and tragedy, leaving the hotel with the ominous name, quote, the most haunted hotel in America. The hotel was once a treatment center run by a man named Norman Baker. Baker claimed that he had, quote, the miracle cure for cancer.
This is sad.
Of course, these claims were completely false, and hundreds of people lost their lives within the walls of this building, hopelessly waiting on a cure that would just never come. Some of the patients' remains were said to be scattered on the property. Now, with a history like that, it's no wonder that today many of the hotel...
And just so you guys know, listening to this, he's really building this up as something spooky. You guys can let us know. I think it's kind of cool what happens.
Guests claim to have had terrifying paranormal encounters. And some of these experiences
These
were even
pictures.
caught on camera. 4 years ago, Jennifer Chronister was visiting the Crescent Hotel with her mother when she accidentally captured something truly creepy.
Okay, it's the one after
Girls
this. Is that the same
trip,
hotel?
most haunted hotel in America, and my nightstand on the creepy door is my eyes shut. So early bedtime, looking for ghosts.
Did you see it? When slowed down, it becomes clear that
Sorry, this isn't the one. It's the one after. It's not that long. I forgot about this one. So here we go.
something moves in front of Jennifer's camera, something that resembles a small child. Even creepier, Fox Nation reporter Abby Hornacek also stayed at the hotel and left with painful scratches on her back. But that's not all. A woman named Angelina and her daughter
This is the one I'm talking about. That's kind of cool.
were staying in room 212 at the Crescent Hotel. It is said that on this side of the building, the spirit of a mysterious lady in white is often seen on the balconies. In fact, it's claimed that sometimes this ghost is actually seen falling from the balconies into the garden below. So, it's 6 in the morning and Angelina is outside her room enjoying her coffee. And then, this happens.
I'm going to pause it just for a second, people listening. What it's reading basically is this Angelina is sitting on the balcony when she starts to hear a woman humming. And there's more than what that little sound was at first. So I'm so excited.
Angelina is shocked and also a bit excited when she hears the voice of a woman singing from the balcony right next to her, because there's no one over there. Angelina says that she was a bit creeped out by the experience, but she is also grateful to have captured what she believes is the voice of a spirit.
You got a good voice, actually.
Knock, knock.
Hang on, no, pause that.
Well,
So what'd you guys think?
The third one, I like that.
That was the one I was talking about. I forgot about the two before.
I was kind of.
Hi, Kassoon. We got to say hi to Kassoon. Kassoon's here, too.
I did earlier. Didn't hear.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see. Go ahead.
That's okay. So I always try to think, yeah, that's a really cool video. I like it. And if that's what it is, I totally get it. But I always try to look.
You guys only got a few minutes, but quickly, how he says
I always try to find that there could be a cause. And Shannon Keir said it's a hotel sound will carry. When you said that, that is true. I've stayed at many hotels. I had to.
Well, how can you explain the first part about the spirit running across? We may have to continue this next week.
Oh, the spirit running across. I have no clue what that is. I thought it was cool though. But with the woman, like you said, there might be a maid in the room next door who's singing as she's doing the bed, and that's being picked up. But I highly doubt it. I'm just saying that.
I know it said she was a little creeped out, but look at her face if you're watching the video, and I'll post this in our group. That brought such joy to her. Howie says, but, and he's making a good point. And we have like one or 2 minutes left. He says, if they are being told it is haunted and experiences, everybody's experiencing things, couldn't it be manifested by the guest? Interesting. And I agree 100%.
Yep, I agree 100% too. And then there's also the game of telephone that goes along with these places.
Yes. So you guys, like I say, we like to show some video clips if we can. Just depends how our conversation goes. And like I say, we do love to talk spiritual. We know you guys do too. It's just we're heading into spooky month. And with the name of our network being United Public Radio, but also UFO Paranormal Radio, we said we were going to stick to the spooky, but we still sneak some in. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're going to try. We are going to try. So, you guys, I guess it's that time, isn't it? You guys, if you would like to know more about me or follow me on social media, you can go to Instagram and TikTok, and it's at Medium David Hanzel. No slashes, no dashes, no numbers. I also have this YouTube channel, which we're playing on now, which is the Spirit Experience. I also have a Facebook group called the Spirit Experience. And the only way you can get a reading from me is by going to my website, theywhispertome.com. I never, ever PM people and offer readings or solicit readings, and neither does Lorilei. Thank you. And hey, don't forget to join our group, The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, on on Facebook.
On Facebook. Name is the show, and when we get to 200, Dave and I are going to start going live in there from time to time, and we're getting up there, you guys. So tell all your friends and family. It hasn't been around that long, and we'd love to do that over in that group for you. Everybody's saying thank you so much. One person, Kimmy, says she's an overthinker, so she said we gave her lots to think about. And the cool thing is, we're going to be back next week, so we can continue the discussion. If you guys stay tuned before you sign out, okay? Because the second night of the Outer Realm is coming up next with the amazing Michelle DeRoche. She's also our station manager, and Amelia Pisano. So stay tuned. They always have a great show. If you ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me right now at facebook.com/Angel Rock. I am working on a website. I promise probably won't be ready like under a domain name. It probably won't be ready till the new year because I am setting up and working fervently on my first course. I'm going to start teaching Introduction to Spirituality. You'll hear more about it. I'm going to try and put it all under one roof. Everything. I'm going to set up a group for you guys. It'll be all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. So keep that in the back of your mind, hopefully in the new year. But you can get a hold of me on any social media platform. It's either under Lorilei Potvin or the Angel Rock. Fastest and quickest way to get a hold of me, though, Facebook Messenger. I usually have my phone, I'm listening to something, and I'll get a notification, or if I miss you, I'll get back to you for sure. I have two groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, and the Angel Rocker Tribe for all things spiritual. Monday night, please join me, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live. I forgot to check who I'm having back on, but you guys know it's going to be a great guest. We always have fun people on the show, and I'd love for you to join us. Otherwise, Dave and I are going to be back, same time, same space here. We'd love to have you join us, and we'll continue the conversation. Stay spooky.
Yeah, stay spooky, you guys. And we're going to try our outro one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. What's at the foot of your bed?
Did we do it?
I think we were really off on that one.
I thought we were on. It sounded like we are. If you're new tonight, we try it every show. We want to hit it dead on at the same time.
Yeah, and trying to get that is almost trying to get the duplicate hole at a miniature golf thing. We just can't get it together.
Hey, it's fun. It's a good way to end
it.
It
is fun.
We love you all. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all next week, everybody. Okay, stay tuned for Michelle and Amelia next.